Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy VGA. Welcome back to episode 2 of our F1 2020 My Team career. Today we are going to be doing the Bahrain Grand Prix, aka the first round of the season. And I think we'll run well there. It's a power circuit. Got a good Mercedes engine in the back, should power us along quite nicely. So yeah, see how we do. So now we're just taking a look at our facilities. We are all level 0 because we haven't got the money to upgrade them yet. So this is our aerodynamics, where we test the aerodynamics of our car. You see we've got aerodynamics, chassis, powertrain, durability, personnel and marketing. And I'm pretty sure every upgrade is 2 million each, so it takes a long time. So now we're looking at our research and development tree, choosing what to upgrade. I choose to go for a chassis upgrade, as we have put the moral of our aerodynamics. We've made our moral for they're happy instead of normal like it is for everything else. So we get a few upgrades already done, and now we're just checking everything. We need to get to acclaim level 2 to get a new sponsor. So hopefully we can get to acclaim level 2 today, and I can already tell you as I'm doing this post-com, we do. And now let's go to the Bahrain Grand Prix, hopefully. There we go. So, here we are in our little place. I don't really know where this is. And now we go into the laptop. This just gives us like an overview of the weekend. Got engineers either side. Opposite us is our teammate Guan Yu Zhou. But anyway, so we're looking at in our emails, we have Carl with some. We got our engineer Jeff with a weather report. Bahrain is it's a deserty place, so very unlikely you'll get rain there. So yes, it is dry, and the first race of the season under the lights at Bahrain. Gonna be beautiful watching our vroom vroom racing car zoom under the lights. And there's the R&D history. See Mercedes there at the top. We're not doing too bad. Anyway, let's get into practice. So overall in practice, we ran well. Did some of the programs. In the background, you're watching me do the track acclimatization program, which is just learning the line you want to take through corners and optimal apex and turning speed. So yeah, and this is our first preview of the car running out on track. I have to say, the car it looks nice, but the black and the white, as you can see there, I'm considering swapping that around. I don't know, I'll have a look at it after, between the next race, and I'll have a look and see what looks better with the white or the black around. But anyway, now we go into qualifying practice, nothing important. So we just coming out on our first run, and to be fair, for our first ever race in Formula 1, the car did actually feel quite nice around Bahrain. I have a feeling we can have good qualifying performances. The car just feels nicely hooked up around one lap. I mean, in qualifying, I did really well in qualifying. Guan Yu Zhou, our teammate, also did a pretty decent job. But anyway, coming across the line, P4 for our first run, but you can't really take that into account because only a few people have set their laps. And now, as we come on to start our second lap, you see we're down in P15. I don't know why, but I decided to put on short qualifying, but for the next race in Vietnam, I will have it so as Q1, Q2, Q3, because that's just, I think it's more climatic. You can't just keep banging out laps straight away. So yeah, the lap was quite decent. Got us up into P11 or 12, not too sure. Anyway, but this is going to be our last lap. As you see, less than a minute left. Well, less than half a minute, sorry. left in the qualifying session. We've been running pretty well down the straights, in the corners. Quantity Joe, I think, is like P16 at this point. But as we come across the line to finish our lap, so you see as we've got dropped down one place into P12 over that lap, when we come across the line it's P10, but of course there are people behind us setting their laps. So at the end result of qualifying is P11, but it's 10. So
let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Leclerc, Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
So yeah, you see Charles Leclerc getting pole in the Ferrari. If this was real 2020, that's very unrealistic. Quantity Joe in P19 there, so I mean, not bad. I mean, not great, considering I got P10, but anyways, into the race we go.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal. And it's make or break here at round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. We'll be racing around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit today. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left down into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. Can Mercedes start with victory in their bid to win a 7th consecutive Constructors' title? Could Ferrari or Red Bull establish an advantage early on? And with 22 cars on the grid, how quickly can the new team find their footing? Well, it's great to be back, Anthony Davidson. We've got a lot to talk about this year.
That's right, Crofty. It felt like a long winter, but it's good to finally be back. I have to think the usual suspects will battle it out at the front, but there are always going to be some teething problems early on in the season, so whoever can keep on top of their issues will have the advantage today.
As I mentioned earlier, we're up to 11 teams this season, with a new entry run by, well, of all things, an owner-driver. That's something we haven't seen in this sport since Hector Raback over 4 decades ago. So how are they looking so far?
It's hard to imagine how a smaller car is surprisingly strong, but there are no points for qualifying. Let's see how they fare in the Grand Prix proper.
It's time to see our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday puts him on pole, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas and Albon, Sainz, Norris, Kvyat and Ryan, Ricciardo, Gasly, Kimi Raikkonen and Magnussen, Stroll, Perez, Esteban Ocon and Roman Grosjean, Joe, Giovinazzi, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Here we are on the grid, ready for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and of course Jeff has to speak in the most inconvenient time. What a plum. But here we are deciding our race strategy. 2 stop if you start on the softs, which that's one of the reasons I was debating whether to not push all out and get top 10. So I'll be forced into a 2 stop. But here we go, for Lights Out, for the first race of the Grand Prix. And it's Lights Out and away we go. Not a great start, lots of wheel spin. We get mugged off the start by Daniel Ricciardo, and Pierre Gasly comes up our left, and there goes Kevin Magnussen down our inside in the Haas. Makes like 3 or 4 places up in the start. Brilliant move from him, and now we've started backpedaling from P10 to P12. Now we're just side by side with Danny Kvyat, and I'm just worried about Kimi Raikkonen in that Alfa Romeo behind us. And there we go, that's why, because he just launched one down our inside, tried to get Kvyat too. Kvyat shuts the door on him, which means he has lost his momentum. We managed to get it back around the outside and keep him to P12. Now, at the end of the first lap, we're in a bit of no man's land, because Danny Kvyat in that AlphaTauri up ahead, he's a bit too far away for us to really do anything on him, so I'm just trying to use a toe from him to defend against Kimi Raikkonen. And on lap 3, he's just overtaken Kevin Magnussen. I couldn't get the car slowed down in time because the brakes were overheating, which we'll see in a bit. So I ploughed straight into the back of him just a tiny bit, and not much contact, so there was no damage, but I managed to go down into turn 4, DRS, straight down the inside, and then we go up into P11 and lap 3 of the Bahrain GP. And now we cut on to lap 4, where still have Danny Kvyat ahead of me, and Sergio Perez in his Racing Point retires from the Grand Prix. And then a lap later, I come around the final corner and I see a little car get stricken off on the side, and it's Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari out of the race. So in 2 laps we've had Sergio Perez and Sebastian Vettel out of the race, and here lap 6 coming in for the pit stop. The tyres are dead. I can already feel it. I can't get the car to slow down in time, which is a mixture between my overheating brakes and the dead tyres. And of course, us being a new team, our pit stop is right at the back. And here I go to release a bit early, which means I can't, and the gear is unavailable. I need to get the gear available again, which slows us down. And when I came out in last, because Vettel and Perez are the 2 behind me, but they are out of the race. But anyway, we've managed to overtake Romain Grosjean, who came in for his pit stop. And now we are on the back of Danny Kvyat, the bloke who we've been chasing all race, who is actually behind Nicholas Latifi. I'm not sure if it's now or in a couple laps time. I think it's now though. I got already a message from Jeff that Danny Kvyat has a problem, and I managed to make a sweet dive onto the inside on Danny Kvyat. So that puts us up into P18, and now I'm close enough to that Williams, who's also got a Mercedes engine in the back. But unluckily for Nicholas Latifi, and this is his first year in Formula 1 too, in real life, I got DRS, and I just go straight to the inside. I mounted the curb a little bit there, which didn't really do much, and it wasn't great. So I managed to go up the inside, and we cut to lap 16. I'm P9 now, just by overtaking people in the pit stop. Yellow flags up ahead, is there? Yeah, yellow flags up ahead. Lewis Hamilton spun out of the race. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a replay for you guys, but Lewis Hamilton has had a spin or a collision. I don't think he would have spun by himself. I think it would have been a collision with someone. But anyway, now we have a Merc behind us as we come in on lap 18 for our second and final pit stop of the race, going on to another set of mediums. Now this pit stop was a lot better. Well, the general pit stop time was slower, but we were faster getting out of the pits. So really they were about even. But we come out now behind George Russell, and if we look behind us, just come out in front of our teammate Guan Yu Zhou, who's had a really quiet race. Hasn't really done much, the poor Chinese lad. But anyway, we cut later onto the lap, coming down the back straight. We are right on the gearbox of George Russell. Are we going to be able to get him before we get to the main straight and DRS? I don't know, pull out to the outside. I think if that was me, we made a bit of contact there, because I thought if I was George Russell, I would have pulled my nose out of there. So that's what I thought he did, but obviously not. A little bit of contact didn't hurt though, no damage. So we cut onto lap 20, and I'm now behind the hat of Kevin Magnussen. So brilliant dive at the start, but it's obviously not worked out too great for him. And now we just go down the inside, beat him on the brakes, and he's just going to give up. And now I need to rely on a good exit, because he's going to have DRS on me all the way up here to turn 4. So that's why you're really going to get a good exit out of turn 1 there at Bahrain, because otherwise you can be really compromised. And here, lap 28, as soon as I overtook Magnussen, it took me so long to catch up to Antonio Giovinazzi, so I go for an opportunistic dive straight down the inside. Don't think twice about it, and I bully him out. And now we've got ourselves up into P12 on the final lap, and I've somehow managed to get DRS down into turn 4 as well. So I'm not complaining. Cut to this back straight. You see Max Verstappen, a very unlikely winner for the first race of the season in that Red Bull Racing car. A very unlikely winner, but he somehow pulled it out the bag and has won the first race of the season. And now we're just doing our own job. As now we come across the line for our first race of the season in P12.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
So another fantastic victory for Red Bull today. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Today's performance means Max Verstappen now owns the top spot in the Drivers' Championship. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
Let's give it to Esteban Ocon. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
Let's move on to the constructors. Red Bull take over as championship leaders. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So, anyway, that's the first race of the season done. That podium, those two Renaults, how did they get on the podium, both of them for a 2-3? Nonetheless, that's a brilliant result for the French team, but that's just, wow. And then we're just going over our acclaim level. We did get to acclaim level 2, like I said we did earlier, so now we can sign a new sponsor, which I'll pick. Will I pick it? I don't even remember if I picked it this episode. But now until the Vietnam Grand Prix, I'm just trying to fit in activities for us. Quite small activities, which I think are easier to work with for our 9 days between the Bahrain Grand Prix, well, where we are now, and the Vietnam Grand Prix, which is going to be a new circuit for this game, which is going to be, driven it like a few times. It wasn't great. Yeah, we do sign a new sponsor. So I sort it from the weekly income. I was going to pick like a middle mark team, but the middle mark teams weren't great. So I was just looking at this Atlantic, who bring in the most weekly income, and the goal bonus. The goal was quite easy, really. So I was like, yeah, let's do this. So now we have Shark and Atlantic as our two sponsors, which you'll see them on the car for the next episode, and I'll show you them at the next episode. Anyway, now we are just looking at everything else if we can do. So now we just fast forward time all the way to the Vietnam Grand Prix, which is nothing major going on. But yeah, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think episode 3 will be up tomorrow, maybe later today. Depends how I feel. For the Vietnam Grand Prix, I don't think we'll go too strong here. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.